Welcome back, America. We're here with our friend Mike Davis, Article 3 Project founder and president, former chief counsel for nomination to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Big muckety-muck in the legal field. We like him very much here. Mike Davis, welcome. And so we're hearing a lot of former federal prosecutors, a lot of lawyers who like to write a lot and talk a lot. We're hearing a lot of so-called professors, you know the list. And they're telling us the Constitution's been violated, that this federal statute or that federal statute's been violated, that obviously the Secretary of War has committed war crimes. What do you say about that?
I would say that President Trump campaigned on the fact that he's going to secure our border. He's going to expel illegal aliens, starting with the most vicious of them, like Tren de Aragua and MS-13. He's going to stop the flow of narco-terrorists into America. And President Trump is doing the unthinkable. He's actually doing what he promised American voters he would do. He got 312 electoral votes. He won the popular vote. He got all 7 swing states. He kept the House. He won a comfortable margin in the Senate. He has a broad electoral mandate to lead. And what we're seeing with these Democrat activist plaintiffs and lawyers and judges is we're seeing judicial sabotage. And they keep pretending that President Trump and Secretary Pete Hegseth and the rest of the Trump administration are somehow violating the law, yet they can never point to any law that Trump and his team are supposedly violating. And in fact, when President Trump and his Justice Department, led by Attorney General Pam Bondi and Solicitor General John Sauer, take these cases to the Supreme Court on the emergency docket, they're winning more than 90% of the time. So I can't understand where these Democrats are coming up with this idea that President Trump is violating the law. It sounds like it's the Democrats who are violating the law and trying to sabotage the President of the United States and really the American people.
What's crazy about this is the impact. That is, what President Trump is doing with Venezuela is trying to save tens of thousands of American lives. We have the Coast Guard running around in the ocean trying to catch these guys. And finally, the president put 30% of the Navy there and said, you know, we don't have to run around and catch you guys. We find you, we're going to blow you out of the water. You're trying to kill American citizens. And it's not drug cartels. It is the government of Venezuela that is doing this thing to the American citizenry. I mean, what the hell do we have a Navy for? If they're not going to stop other countries from sending speedboats to another country to send killer drugs into our country. So what exactly, and I looked at this and I can't find any, what exactly is the legal or constitutional problem with this? You have to declare war? No, you don't have to declare war. You can put an end to it without declaring war, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, under the Constitution, Congress has the power to declare war, but the president has always had the power and the duty as the chief executive officer and the commander-in-chief to repel an invasion into America. And that's exactly what President Trump is doing. You have these narco-terrorists running fentanyl into the United States and killing a lot of Americans. And President Trump is, again, doing what he promised American voters he would do, and he would stop that. And he is well within his constitutional power as the commander-in-chief, as the chief executive officer. And frankly, he's well within the powers, even the War Powers Act of 1973 that Congress passed over President Nixon's veto, and every president since then says is unconstitutional. But even under the War Powers Act of 1973, President Trump absolutely has the statutory power, in addition to his constitutional power, to blow up these narco boats.
When we come back, you've been around a little while, legal circles and other circles and so forth and so on in Washington, D.C. What is it about the opposition? Here we have an opposition that allowed all these gang members in the country, that allowed all these other people in the country, some of whom are terrorists or want to be terrorists, women being sold into sex slavery, kids going missing, unaccompanied minors going missing. Now they're fighting deportation. They're using effectively their own militia in the streets, the governor of Illinois, the governor of California, these mayors and so forth. What is it? What is it about the Democrat Party and the media that hate this country so much and yet claim to want to advance the case for the people. We'll be right back. Welcome back, America. So my question, in short, Mike Davis, is why do the Democrats seem to oppose everything that secures our country, the tranquility and peace in the interior of our country? Because I can go down even a longer list. Why is that?
Well, I would say this. Today's Democrat Party is not our parents' or grandparents' Democrat Party. These are not liberals who love America and just disagree with conservatives on the best way to get there. These are leftists. These are Marxists. They don't believe in free speech. They believe in censorship under the guise of protecting us from misinformation or disinformation. They don't believe in equality. They believe in equity. They don't believe in due process of law. They believe in politicized and weaponized intel agencies and law enforcement agencies to go after their political enemies. These are subversive Marxists who hate America, and they're trying to destroy us from within. And you see that when you let in 20 million people, unvetted and unvettable foreign terrorists from some of the worst trouble spots like Somalia, like Afghanistan, when you create gender chaos in our schools where little boys are confused about being girls, and then you're going to give them, you're going to butcher them with these surgeries and pills for the rest of your lives. This, if you were writing a plan as America's enemy on how to bring America to our knees, the Democrat playbook seems to be that plan. They're doing everything they can to destroy our country from within.
Yeah, beautifully said. You know, the funny thing about foreign policy, national security, and our military, Donald Trump is the least of the interventionist presidents. He's not an interventionist. He really uses prudence in determining case by case. He's not an ideologue about this stuff. He means peace through strength like Reagan did, and there are activities that are going on that are harming the American people or can harm the American people, whether it's nuclear weapons in Iran that keeps threatening us. He says, no, that's not going to happen. And now he looks at Venezuela, which is, it's a terrorist narco state. It works with terrorists. It works with Hezbollah and Iran. It works with Cuba. It works with China. It works with Russia. And he's saying, look, we don't have to put up with this. He actually believes in the Monroe Doctrine, which says America's interests in our hemisphere really are unbounded, and we will take action to protect those interests, which John Kerry had dismissed. What do you think about that? I think he's muscling up the Monroe Doctrine and saying what happens in our hemisphere matters there, Panama, or anywhere else.
Yeah, we have a smart foreign policy under President Trump that puts America first, right? And we look out for our national interest in foreign policy, and we're not trying to fix every problem around the world like we've seen with prior presidents of both parties. We are focused on America first. And when you have a narco state like Venezuela, for example, that is shipping in fentanyl and killing thousands of Americans every year, President Trump is going to put America first and stop it. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of these seditious Democrats in Congress. They're coming up with this idea that the military should disobey what they think are unlawful orders. We want an 18-year-old enlistee to question the commander-in-chief and his order to create chaos and division within the chain of command of the military. I think the American people have had President Trump for 4 years in his first term. They had 4 years of disaster under President Biden, and then they put President Trump back in this White House because he puts America first, our national security first, and the American people trust him that he's going to bring peace and prosperity to our country.
And he's doing that. Mike, I want to thank you a lot for the great work you do over at Article 3 and so forth. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, and happy holidays.
You too. We'll be right back.